Hello and welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Ashley and this is Charmed by Ashley, and today is episode 2 of not actually a podcast on my YouTube channel, where I just give you an update on what's going on in my life, and then I also have a very important topic that I would love to speak to you about, especially if you are in the realm of sewing up sewing patterns, any sort of sewing patterns, whether it is small projects, bags, or garments. I think you're really going to want to know what's going on in the world of pattern making and AI. So stick around for that. But I do want to go over some household information first. Of course, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, don't forget to do that. And go over to my other social medias. All those are linked down below. Instagram, Facebook, all those fun things where you can get up-to-date, minute-to-minute information on what I'm doing, pattern releases, and so much more. Also, I did open up the members portion for my YouTube channel. So if you're interested in getting exclusive content or access to custom emojis created by me, then you're going to want to sign up for that exclusive membership through this YouTube channel. Again, that will help to support the channel and help me bring more quality content in the future. So, what is going on with Ashley? Well, sadly, I've been experiencing some health issues. Something that I think is hereditary because my mother also experienced this right around when she hit her 40s. And guess what? I'm 41 now, so I guess it's my turn. I wasn't sure what it was. I was experiencing some intense pains. And of course, a trip to the ER, CT scan, ultrasounds. It is true, I do have gallstones and they are now giving me problems, and I will be getting my gallbladder taken out on May 23rd. Oh, I'm scared. So please, if you are somebody who, believes in all that stuff, please insert me in your prayers so that I have a quick and fast recovery, because it kind of varies for everybody. Some people say, oh, I went back to work after 3 days, and then other people say, oh, it was quite painful for the first week, and then, so I don't know if it's just a pain tolerance thing, or if it's just how bad the quality of the gallbladder was. Maybe it was very inflamed and created issues when it was removed. I'm not sure. Right now I'm stable. I've been experiencing some really bad heartburn. Sorry if that was too much information, but I've been keeping that under control, eating foods that doesn't kind of irritate that. So I'm okay. And it was just, a trip to the ER and a lot of pain. They gave me morphine, and I couldn't keep anything down, so I wasn't able to take just regular pain meds. It was not fun. So thankfully and hopefully this will be all in the past very shortly. And then I'm sure I'll have to figure out a whole new lifestyle and change in my diet moving forward, because, taking out an organ isn't necessarily going to be easy on the body. But I have lost 20 pounds, so yay for that. But I also have starved myself for the past 2 months, so, but let's move on from that. During this time, I haven't really done any crazy sewing, just because I just haven't really been in the mood. But I did do one project from Elizabeth Hartman. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I'm very proud of it. And that is this really cute Dogs in Sweaters quilt block. And I thought it was so cute because I made it dogs in Hawaiian shirts with my flamingos, because you all know how much I heart flamingos in my life. So I thought that was really cute. And It was interesting to, you know, just try it out and see if it would come out cute, if I have what it takes to do this. I have done paper piecing, but this is similar but without the paper. And I think I did really good. I think it looks exactly the way it should. So very proud of myself. Since then, I did get the Sew and Show box from Martelli Notions, and they had a project in there, and it was a quilt project, and so I went ahead and made that too. Very excited. This is the Daisy May table runner. Sadly, it is all covered in fur now because my cat thinks that I made it for her. So, but really cute. There's two options, well, there's a couple options of what you could do with this table runner. You could have the daisies kind of like coming off the end, so it was just kind of appliqued onto the actual table runner. But instead I decided to just do the half daisies on the sides, only because I have a table and I just know that it wouldn't fit if I did do the daisies hanging off the end, but it kind of gives an extra detail of like, it's not the table runner that's that long, it's the petals that are kind of like falling off of it. So it gives you like that dimension, which I think is really pretty. So that is the May Martelli Notions Sew and Show subscription box. So super excited to be able to sew that up. I have never made a table runner. That's pretty bad. Because I have a lot of tables. Actually, I made a center one because I have a circle table. So I made one that is for the center. It was like a hexagon or an octagon or a something gone. I'm not sure. So I made that for that table. But I haven't made like an actual rectangle one. I haven't really made a lot of quilt projects in general. So I'm hoping, you know, in the future, if I get more of these Martelli subscription boxes, that I will have some more projects that will force me into making quilt projects, because I do quite enjoy them, you know. I really do. I also enjoy making clothes where you have to take your time, whether it is a collared shirt, you know, where you have to iron things crisp and clean and interfacing, you know. So sometimes I'm just in a rush and I just want to get it done, but other times it's nice to just kind of stop and smell the roses and just create a work of art, you know what I mean, as opposed to just like, my kid needs shorts, make some shorts in like an hour. So that is basically the update for what's been going on in my sewing room. And now we're going to get down to the most important topic, which is sewing patterns and AI. Okay, so I went ahead and wrote down everything that I need to know so that I can convey this properly and you can protect yourself from the people that are trying to scam us. But basically, how this first started out was I was just looking for a prom dress pattern, and I was looking at the big four and I couldn't really find anything that I liked, so I went to Etsy. And the great thing about Etsy is that you can go on there and you can buy digital patterns and print them out immediately, and it seemed like there was a very large selection of sewing patterns when I typed in, you know, prom dress or evening dress on Etsy. But it turns out that the majority of those listings are fake. So fake. And I need you to understand what to look for so that you can protect yourself and you don't buy these fake patterns, because these fake patterns are software engineered. They literally don't even make anything. There's not a piece of fabric that went into this. Maybe they drew it on a piece of paper just so that they could, you know, but no, this is not how this works at all. Everything is digitally created, and there is not one person that has actually tested out these patterns. So what I've noticed in the last year is that there has been a noticeable increase in sewing pattern shops that seem to have popped up just like overnight. Some of them offer dozens, sometimes hundreds of patterns with slick looking covers, catchy titles, and really cheap prices. But when you dig a little deeper, things start to look off. And this is what I want you to learn or get from this, is so that you can know what to look for when you see these little off things. These shops are often run by people using AI tools to generate the patterns. Description, images, without ever testing, without ever making it and putting it on a human body. As I have done pattern drafting and testing and writing instructions, I can't stress this enough, that a sewing pattern is more than just, cute illustrations or a fancy mock-up. It's a map, and if that map is done wrong, you're going to end up frustrated, wasting fabric, and doubting your skills. And that's just not okay. Here are some of the signs that a shop owner may be an AI tool or lacking human involvement. Number 1, no real photos. Some shops won't have any image of a person wearing the clothing. They'll only have line art, and they'll be like, this is what you're gonna make. And you're like, I wanna see it on a human. I wanna see what it looks like. Does it even work? What size does it look good on? I would like to see somebody in a straight size and a plus size, just to make sure that this garment is going to be able to fit me. I need an example of a human that somewhat looks like me. Maybe not perfect. I'm in the curvy chart. I need to have a photograph of a person wearing that dress that kind of resembles me, so that I know if I can be successful or not. And a lot of times they are only putting the line art. Do not buy those patterns. Period. Do not. With that though, they will then use the AI tools to create images of fake people to try to sell that garment. Now, if you see somebody who looks too polished, too airbrushed, the person is in an amazing location where you're just like, wow, the odds are that person is not real. One, a lot of brands don't necessarily spend money in photo shoots for every single garment. That would cost too much money. A lot of times they just have a simple studio with a backdrop and then they photograph, or they just go out, or they go to a nice garden. But if they're inside of a location, there's a good chance that it's not real, because it would just cost too much money to take photos in locations that you would probably have to either have a permit for or to pay for to be there. Another thing is that a lot of times these AI photos do not coincide with the actual line art. The dress on the woman does not match the dress that is drawn in the illustration. The lines aren't correct. Some of them have gone as far as, it's not even the same dress. And I'll show you a picture of what I'm talking about here, where this dress here, the shoulder is not even the same. The neckline is not the same. The image of the woman is clearly AI. The line art is probably AI, and the two do not connect. They are not the same, and you will not get that same result, which means that you are buying a false product, something that you couldn't possibly actually successfully make. If you're looking at that photograph and thinking that's what I'm going to make, you're not going to with this image. And this shop has hundreds and hundreds of rock bottom price sewing patterns that that's disconnected. It does not match. But they have sold thousands of patterns to people, to unsuspecting people that have no idea, or they're just starting to learn how to sew and they don't know what to look for. Someone like maybe you and I, we've been sewing for years, and maybe we can pick up on these things. You can see, okay, this has a princess seam, but the illustration does not have a princess seam. That's not the same thing. But other people might just think, oh, that is that, and not actually look hard, and they just are so quick to purchase that pattern. Now, a lot of times these companies sell them for 70% off, and they're doing this strategically because they know that it's going to be a smaller investment. You won't feel as bad if you aren't as successful. So you're going to go and you're going to spend $3 on this pattern, and then you're like, oh, whatever, I wasn't expecting much, you know, it was only $3. But if an actual brand or someone who has a reputable pattern company, they go and sell their pattern for $20 or $30, you know, if they don't sell something, a good product, you're going to be annoyed. You're probably going to contact the maker. You're going to leave a scathing review. These are just the things that you probably will do when you spend a little bit more money. So strategically, they're going to sell their products at 70% off, but then they're going to sell way more because people know that it's a lesser investment, and they're just going to do it. You know, who cares? Whatever. It's only $3, you know. And then they're always on sale. They're never not on sale. So just keep an eye. If a pattern is too low, it's too good to be true. Another thing is that these AI images, if you're not sure if they're AI or not, you just need to look at the photo. Here's an image of a woman who is outside. Behind her, you know, it looks kind of normal. She's in a neighborhood, but the tree looks fake. There's a car inside of another car. And these aren't things that I necessarily would pick up as an average person. You know, you just kind of look at the image of the woman and then you think, oh, that's pretty. But as a photographer, I'm always looking behind the person to make sure that when I take a photo of a person, that what's behind isn't going to ruin the photograph. You know, we don't want an old beat up truck behind a person unless that's a stylized choice. So, of course, this photo is very fake. Also, when it comes to AI, AI isn't really that great when it comes to hands and feet. So I'm going to show you a photograph of a woman's feet that are clearly fake, because in one photo her feet look okay, but in this photo her feet look like it has 2 toes, and it looks bloody, and it looks bad, and it's very fake, clearly. So things like that, little tiny details, you know, just be mindful that that is probably a good indication that this is a fake generated photo, that human is not real, that garment has never been made, it's never been on a human body, and that would mean that it has never been tested and it will not work for you. I also read in some of the reviews that there is no real actual instructions. You're only going to get the pattern. So for $3, people apparently don't complain, but I would complain. That is not enough information. I need a full video or photographic tutorial if I'm going to buy anything. I don't care if it's $3, but for some people, $3 is nothing, and they will buy. So the other thing I want you to look for is, of course, there's no social media presence. There's no human behind it. There's nobody advertising their patterns in other places, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. If they're not advertising in other areas, it's because it's not real. Don't buy it. If there's massive inventory, thousands of patterns in an Etsy shop, it's not real. It's fake. They can pump out so many patterns if it's just a computer creating them. So why wouldn't they? The more, the better. And then not only that, but they'll create multiple listings of the same dress. They'll just change the photo to another AI photo, but it's the exact same dress, but they posted it maybe 50 different times with 50 different images, but it's all the same sewing pattern. It's so sneaky and just snakish, you know, it's just horrible. They also use generic language in the description with no real sewing knowledge or personality. And there's just no sign of a human behind the brand. Like, that's just it. You know, when it comes to that social media, if there's no person there, then, you know, it's not real. It's fake. Now, again, we're talking about dresses, but this goes with quilt patterns, small projects, bags, everything. You really need to be aware of everything you buy now, because AI is slowly going to ruin the sewing pattern industry, and we just need to be smarter when it comes to this. So if you know, have some people in your life that maybe are of the older demographic and don't understand what AI is, artificial intelligence, and what it is doing, you know, send them this video and maybe even just timestamp it and tell them that, you know, you really need to be aware before you start buying sewing patterns. I always have relationships with the humans behind my sewing patterns. I follow them on Instagram or TikTok. I know who they are. They make everything that they sell. They wear everything they sell. They talk about it. They have retreats. It's very clear that this is a human that has tested their product and they are legit, you know, such as Copper Creek Patterns. They're a garment pattern company. Ellie and Mac, again, they have a test group. You can see the test group. You can see people posting it after they tested it and bragging about it and showing it off. It's very clear that there are real people behind that brand, and you don't have to worry because they test it in all different sizes to make sure that it works for everybody. So what can you do to avoid the AI-led shops? So you're going to look for a person. You're going to check for sew-alongs and tutorials. You're going to read the reviews and read a lot of them, especially the negative ones, because those are the ones with the people who are actually going to tell you the truth and be like, this isn't real. There's a lot of reviews on there that also can be falsified by the people that run that shop also. So you need to understand that sometimes the reviews are skewed because of the people that run them. You know, they do that on Yelp. They have, you know, the workers leave good reviews on their stores and stuff like that. They're gonna do it for this too. And of course, follow all your favorite designers. So whether it's me or somebody else, follow them on those social medias so that you know when their patterns come out, and then you don't have to go over to Etsy and look for prom dresses like me. Now, I live on Etsy, okay? I do have a pattern shop on Etsy, and I am legit. But I've noticed that the people that are on Etsy now are starting to post a photo of information on how to avoid AI shops. So maybe look for something like that as well to see if that shop is aware and that they're being transparent and they're basically showing who they are and helping to protect the sewing pattern community. You know, we want this to still be a respectful part of the sewing industry, and there's always going to be scammers. You know, we didn't think that they would be in the sewing pattern industry, but here we are. There's always going to be scammers. So, you know, just find the sewing pattern makers that you respect and follow them and buy from them, like me. But anyways, I hope that this kind of like opens your eyes to a lot of things. Be aware of a lot of things on Pinterest also. They create so many AI generated quilts too, small projects, stuffed animal, everything. And if it looks too clean and too perfect, it's not real. It really isn't. And I don't want you to lose your hard-earned money and destroy your beautiful fabric because you went to sew up a pattern and you were unsuccessful because it was a bad quality pattern. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. Comment down below if you have any questions. Don't forget to subscribe, and hopefully I will see you again after my surgery. I'll be happy, healthy, and hopefully eating again. So I'll probably gain all that 20 pounds back. But anyways, thanks so much, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.